So I know I haven't made a video in a while, and it's because I'm working on the series. So I'm revamping, or I should say, revising and expanding the series that I first made a few years ago. I'm adding some chapters to it, and I'm actually going to make it into a physical paperback and a Kindle version for people. I've been asked to do this for a while, so I'm actually almost done with it. So that's kind of where I've been. That's what I've been doing. I still do live streams and things like that. So if you're interested in that, just go to the description. You'll find it there. But overall, I've just been working on this lately. And while I've been working on it, a common theme that keeps popping up is repentance. And repentance, that word used to disgust me. I used to hate that word because it always felt like it was filled with some type of guilt or feeling constantly remorseful or feeling bad about things you've done. And I'm not sure where I got this idea, but I used to think that walking around feeling guilty all the time was like it made you a good person. I don't know why I thought that, but that is what I used to believe. And while I was just kind of going through this series, there's a quote that popped up that I thought was important. Neville says that repentance, he has two quotes really. He has one that he says it's not petition, it's not begging. It's basically a radical change in the mind. But then he has another definition that I love too. He says repentance is becoming a different person. And I absolutely love that quote because I don't think there's another way to really know if imagining creates reality, if imagining changes my world. I don't really know unless I'm a bit radical with it, unless I radically see myself differently, unless I radically change the feeling of the feeling of myself. Unless I radically do it, I won't really know. I will I'll just say coincidence to everything because it's always going to feel like it would have happened anyway. But if I tell nobody what I'm doing, if I don't let anyone know, and I start to see myself differently, it's like Neville said, it's like, is there anyone here who can see themselves so differently that their own friend group, their own circle of friends wouldn't recognize them? I love that because that is what it's like. It's like people won't recognize that the virtues, it's like what Shakespeare said, assume a virtue if you have not. Can you assume you are something that you don't think you are right now and start to become it and tell no one about it? And if you do, then you have found some cause in your life. Now, reason will come and tell you how things came to be, but reason is not your cause. The cause will be the change in the feeling of I. So that's why Neville says signs follow, they do not precede. So you're not looking around for signs to see if you should move into a state. You don't wait for signs to appear. You don't wait for your outer life to be organized. You start exactly where you're at now. Because other than that, you're going to place a bunch of conditions. You're going to say, well, certain conditions externally to me have to be met and rearranged. It's sort of like saying I can't move into the mental state I want to be in unless the furniture is organized a certain way. And that's not how this works at all. Is that no basis in fact at all, and you change your feeling of I, and you do it radically. And it really means that, be radical about it. This is the old definition of it, and I like the way Neville framed it, where it was repentance is becoming a different person. And you can do this, and it all starts from within. But what does it really mean to be a different person? The way I would frame it is exactly how Neville framed it, which is you change the feeling of I. I feel a certain way about myself, and by that I see myself a certain way. And all day long, I'm speaking and having internal conversations, and I'm moving around. Maybe I'm sitting down physically, but internally I'm moving around. I'm doing all these things internally. And it's all pointing to some direction. Just like I walk with a purpose where I go places, I'm doing something with a purpose internally. And it's all pointing to a certain way I feel about myself. And can I change that feeling of I? Can I change that feeling about myself? And you'll find that you can. Now, changing it might not be the hard part. It might be a little bit of sustaining it might be more difficult. But how do I continue sustaining it? Well, I just keep trusting it. I keep trusting that new feeling of I trust that new change. It might not have any basis, in fact. It might, I don't have to tell anybody either. It could be my own little secret, but I will decide what I'm going to be. And if I start to see it push out into this world, then I have found some cause in my life. And I don't use reason to get there. I don't use reason to assume something. I don't use logic. I don't use any of these things. I don't use facts. I go within myself and I shut out the world outside of me. And I assume something within. And I become that thing in imagination. And I walk that way in imagination. So I literally change myself in imagination because I am one with it. It's a very strange thing. The more free you are in your imagination, the more free you become because you are quite literally one with it. We become what we imagine ourselves to be. So don't wait for signs to appear or the passage of time. Don't think that time will eventually make you into something. That's not how this works. If you really take this approach seriously, you won't wait for those things. You could hear something opposite to what you want to be right now, and that wouldn't affect you. You can assume being wanted, and tomorrow you get told how unwanted you are. You just leave them alone. You leave that whole thing alone, and you keep assuming your wantedness, and that's how you defeat those words. You don't defeat them by arguing with them, or fighting with them, or tearing those words down. You do it with inner assumption, an inner change of the feeling of I. That's how you do it. That's what repentance is. And yeah, so I just wanted to talk quickly about that because I found it important. I noticed it just kept popping up during this. But yeah, I'm excited to share that I am doing the series. It's actually coming out way better than I was expecting. I guess while I was working on it, I don't want it to be a copy and paste because there is a free version out there. But I just wanted to change up a lot of the wording because this was written a few years ago. And some of it to me isn't clear. And so I wanted to add to it. So far I've added about 7 or 6 chapters to it. And I wanted to go back and add to each chapter and change the wording so that it makes more sense. And just while I was doing it, this whole repentance thing just kept popping up, or this change of feeling of I just kept popping up. So I just wanted to kind of quickly share that if you want to really know if this works, you have to be radical about it. Find out what you feel about yourself throughout the course of a week or a day or a month or even the year. Pay attention to how you feel about yourself, because that is where you're going to live from. That is where you're going to think from and act from. So go to the beginning, and the beginning will be your imagination and who you are in that world. Who are you? Or I should say, what are you? I mean, we know who you are. You're the potter. You're the dreamer. We know you can do these things, but what are you being? What are you doing? What are you seeing throughout your day? Who are you talking with, and what are you saying? No one sees this. This is really unseen. This is only you. Only you can see this, and only you can change it. So pay attention to what you're doing. And then when you find out what you're doing, ask yourself if you like that feeling of I. And if you don't do anything other than change it. That's all you have to do is change it to something you do love. That's it. And you sustain that through your trust in it. You keep trusting in that feeling. And you let go of all doubts that restrict you. Because really, this is an internal game. You're just internally becoming the thing you want to be in imagination. It's just like what Neville said. I might not have a nickel, but in imagination, I'll have much. And by that, I start to become it. Because we become what we imagine ourselves to be. So yeah, that's all I have for this one. I just keep a lookout for... Eventually, I'll release it. Maybe a month from now or 2 months from now, I'll release this. I'll talk about it in the future how I think it should be read. It's going to be kind of a much longer book. It's going to be around 250 to 300 pages, so it's going to be much longer. But I'll talk about that in the future. I just wanted to share this one point of repentance. But okay, thank you for listening. Just keep a lookout for it.